All right. So it looks like most people are in here. So we're going to get going. Good afternoon. Coming from Mass Robotics, I'm Khalif Mitchell. I'm the STEM lead here. Mass Robotics is an independent nonprofit innovation hub for robotics and connected devices. And we do programming and events to try and connect the larger community with the existing technologies. So as part of that, today we're bringing in one of our partners, iRobot, and one of their products. Here is the root. They'll talk a bit more about that as one of the STEM devices that they have in order to facilitate robotics education. We're big fans of iRobot. Their CEO, Colin Engel, is on our board and has been part of one of the founding sponsors of the Mass Robotics Initiative. So we'd like to thank them, iRobot, again for being here and for the donation of the roots that they've given us so that we can have programming here. So without much more, I believe Anna is going to start us off today and get us right into the presentation.
Thanks so much. Hi there, Khalif, and everybody that's joining us. My name is Anna Elzer. I'm going to pull up my slides right here, and we are going to get started. Yes, I do want to share my slides. Show this window. Beautiful. Okay, hopefully folks can hear me. As I just mentioned, my name is Anna Elzer. I have the honor and joy and privilege of working on the root team at iRobot, and I'm joined here with some of my other colleagues who are going to pop in and introduce themselves. As they get their webcams ready, I am a learning designer, which means I work on content and curriculum for our educational products, and I also get to chat with educators about professional development and how they can implement coding and robotics into their classrooms. So really fun and really happy to be here.
Hey, I'm Lisa Freed. I manage the STEM outreach program that's part of iRobot Education. And that's really our outreach to schools, to educational groups, bringing our volunteers into schools, bringing students into iRobot, doing job shadows, anything and everything we can do to inspire students in the field of STEM.
Hi everyone, I'm Daniela Bonazzoli. I'm the channel sales manager here for Educational Robots, and we're happy to have you. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, so we have a small presentation prepared for everybody, but we'd love to get to know who else is here and to really get that chat active. So if you could please, in your chat box, let us know who you are and where you're tuning in from. We'd also love to get a sense of what kind of students you're working with, what your populations are. So if you could let us know what grades you're working with right now, that would be fantastic. And just as a heads up, make sure you change your address to who you're sending this to everyone so that everyone can see. We want to make sure we have all of our folks chiming in here. I guess on our end, we get to work with all the grades and teachers, and we're lifelong learners. So Lisa, we like check all of these boxes. So as folks are checking in here, we'll be coming back to that chat, and we'll go ahead and give our overview of what is to come today. So talking about our learning objectives for this webinar, we are going to start with an overview of iRobot Education in all of its glory. We're going to talk a little bit about our STEM outreach and engagement program, which you'll hear from Lisa is transitioning to a more virtual space. And then we're going to meet our friendly coding robot Root, do a little introduction to the learning library and talk about some of our content and activities that we share there. And then we're going to get hands-on as possible with our coding interface and have a little bit of a coding challenge. So we'll hear more from Khalif, and we'll see more of Khalif in a bit when we test out that, and then we'll wrap up with some questions. So feel free to ask questions along the way, and we'll do our best to answer them. And then we'll definitely come back at the end for more live Q&A. Looks like we've got Kara here, awesome, and Joyce is here. So keep putting into that chat what grades you work with and where you're tuning in from. We'd love to hear from you. So I'm going to turn it over to Lisa and take it from here.
Hi, well, thanks. So iRobot Education, it's fairly new and new to us as well. Most people have known us for our STEM outreach program. We have been around for a number of years, working with schools, working with students. And then last year, we acquired the Root robot, which gave us a physical product. It gave us something that we could take to classrooms very easily and get students coding, get students to really, use a robot as well as learn about robotics. And the team realized how much we were working together, so we formed iRobot Education. And I think it speaks volumes to the passion and dedication that iRobot has in the STEM education area. A lot of companies talk about it. iRobot, we have a team. We are dedicated to doing it, and we needed to really put a name on it. So iRobot Education is our overarching branch. It means that we've got the products, we have Root, we have Create, but it also means that we back that up with the Learning Library, where we have lessons and activities, we have curriculum, and then we have our people. And our people really, that's the strongest resource. Our people are the people who make it come alive. Robotics is something which you can learn about. You can hear all about the different careers and options available, but we come out and we show you, we tell you, and we put it really into action. So that's iRobot Education and what we're doing right now.
So beautiful.
And I'll give you a little overview of our STEM program. As Anna mentioned, we've been able to pivot and mostly be virtual. Unintended consequences, we've had to sort of think outside the box. And for right now, everything we do is on Zoom. We're not able to go to classrooms to, even if school resumes, I don't think that we'll be doing that for the safety of our employees. So what we do is we'll have a virtual visit. You can request that right on our website. We'll get a bunch of employees on there, and they really talk about who they are, what they do, the robots they make. Some of them are showing off their side projects. Some of them are really talking about how they got there. It's a really good insight into what it is to be in a STEM career. Our job shadows take that up a notch. We'll talk a little bit more to our high school students and our early college students about what school was like, how school is like working, how school is not like working, what classes, different thoughts. A lot of the students are asking us very pointed questions now about, what college should I choose? What am I looking for in a college? So we're really here to help. And we obviously want to be a continuing resource. We've had plenty of students who ask us for our emails and correspond with us, throughout, actually, after the webinar, after, they've finished school. Some have ended up working at iRobot. National Robotics Week, we founded National Robotics Week. It's super exciting. This year is April 3rd through the 11th. I'm hoping that we can have in-person events by then. And that really is a grassroots effort. The organizations put it together themselves. We coordinate, make sure there's PR, we have a website, but it's an opportunity for students to really see what is robotics and where can they get involved. So all those resources, including our app, are online. You'll find it at edu.irobot.com.
Mm-hmm. Which we'll go through here in a bit. I just want to say, so prior to joining the team at iRobot, I was helping to manage a makerspace. I'm based up in Lawrence, Massachusetts, and that's how we first got connected to iRobot. We brought our students in, and that was, what, 3 years ago, Lisa, maybe more, and students are still talking about that experience. So powerful in person, yes, but after being part of some of the virtual experiences as well, I mean, it's something that I think sets us apart from a lot of other spots. So kudos to the STEM outreach team, and just very dear memories. It's about the people.
Anna, well, we're hopeful to have those tours back up and running in the fall. We need to do a little bit more construction on our museum. We were reworking it right when the pandemic hit, but we're very hopeful that we'll be able to offer virtual tours as well.
Good stuff. Thanks, Lisa. We're gonna transition over to our coding robot. This is the Root RT0. So if you can see me in your little screen, I'm going to do kind of a 3D tour of this, but on your screen here is our slide that talks about all of our sensors. So on the top of Root, we have our on-off power button here, which is Root's nose. In the eyes, we have some light sensors that can detect when it's light or dark. On the top, we have 4 capacitive touch zones, as well as on the front, we have 2 bumpers you can press and have Root respond to different programs here. We have our marker actuator on the top as well, which will raise and lower, and then our power charging cable spot right here. As I flip Root over, on the back side, the sensors continue. So on the bottom front here, which parallels Root's nose, is our cliff sensor. So this is designed to identify when there's an edge so Root doesn't fall off. Notice there's not one in the backside. So if your students are programming Root to move backwards, Root will take a tumble off of the table. Not recommended. Inside here, we have 2 magnets and then obviously Root's wheels. Across the top here is our color sensor. It has 32 different sensors grouped into 5 groups. And then we also have our eraser here, which will raise and lower as well. And internally, there's an accelerometer and also a gyroscope. So lots of potential with our Root coding robot here, tons of sensors that students can code and program with and interact with right here in person. So when we think about what comes with Root, we have educators in mind. Whatever comes inside the box is ready to use. So inside we have our charging cable. Root comes with a bunch of vinyl clings, which are really fun to personalize on top here. They stick on here. This is also whiteboard texture on top, so you can draw and code different symbols here for students to interact with, very hands-on. It also comes with an eraser cloth and then our whiteboard grid, which is a 4x4 whiteboard grid. Each grid measures 16 centimeters across, which is parallel with how the blocks are set up in our coding interface. We'll see those here in a little bit. We also provide 2 dry erase markers, but Root is compatible with any dry erase marker, and then obviously our Root robot. So talking a little bit about our coding interface, this is probably one of my favorite things, if not the most favorite thing that I can share. We have 3 different coding levels. Level 1 starts with our graphic-based interface. So great for pre-readers or anybody who's coming to learn English as a first language or as another language rather. So no text there, very easy to use and drag in. As you transition to level 2, this is our hybrid level. So now it's a combination of graphics and text and starts to get students more comfortable moving with that. We also introduce a bunch more blocks that you can program. There are different parameters, which once we get into our hands-on demo, we'll show you that a little bit more. And then we fully transition into our level 3, which is a full text-based syntax based in Swift here. So students are now seeing what kind of power is behind what might appear as a simple program in level 1 to something that professionals use every day in level 3. All right, so now let's talk about some of our content that we offer. In our learning library, which will give a demo of how to find all these resources, we have different curriculum and content available in terms of activity cards, initially how to get started, lots of printables. You see here we have our robot typography in the top right. We have lesson plans that are aligned to different standards. And then we're also adding content regularly. So there's content being added. We just added a bunch of more content today, which is really exciting. Shout out to our team. But our learning library is immensely filled with lots of different activities. So we'll go through some of these. So talking about Root and its costumes and clings, we mentioned the clings that can stick to the top and also to your whiteboard grid. The costumes that we offer really allow Root to come to life and become different characters when you're talking about in-classroom learning with your students. So we have different costumes from unicorns to pirates to sharks to astronauts, and there are constantly new costumes being developed, and then opportunities for your students to create their own. When we talk about a cross-curricular connection to ELA, English Language Arts, you get to see how really talk about character development, and so students can design their own as well as design their own vinyl clings. This helps you talk about setting as well and all those characters and different adaptations to really bolster your lessons that you're helping students to visualize. So costumes are one of my absolute favorite things. Another resource that we offer in our learning library is our Code Break series. So here we have two different offers. One is geared for students from 1st through 4th grade, and then the other is geared for students in 5th through 9th grade. And it tackles level 1 and level 2 of our coding interface. But this presents a lot of different challenges and problems for students to solve, either with a robot, with our simulated robot, or in an unplugged situation. And so really fun, and helps students, you gather clues along the way, and then at the end it unlocks this final grand message that you have to figure out. In this case, square is missing, so you need to identify where square is. So really fun, and teachers, we've piloted this with a lot of teachers so far, and this has been super successful. Additionally, with our online simulator being available on code.irobot.com, which we're going to pilot, we have a code break that's available to be completed completely with the simulator. So this is a preview of how students will understand how to download a project, how to upload a project, and how they can play. And there are 3 challenges embedded in here that again bring you to this grand finale of an answer. So located in our learning library, we can test that out as well, but this has been really great for students to get familiar with our coding interface, especially in a remote situation that many of us are in and will still be in moving forward. Finish the Story is a series of incredible, amazing animations. Our team works really hard on these, and it's a beautiful complement to English language arts and talking about resolution, conflict resolution. So these are 4 examples of animations that we have that are short, probably 1.5 to 2 minutes each, that invite students into a scene and then present some kind of a problem that happens. And the whole idea is that you have to find the solution by coding root to figure out what the solution might be. So in this case, for example, in Big City Adventure, root is going into, I think I have this in my next slide, let's see. Yes, so in Big City Adventure, Root is going into the city. Let's see if this will play a little bit.
One day, Root rode a train into the big city to explore. Root loved to one day.
Let's see if we can pause that. So that's a little snippet of what's happening, and Root is on this grand adventure going to the big city. And what eventually happens is there's a traffic light is out. So your prompt to students is then how do you use Root as a solution, as a helper, to help figure out and problem solve through that issue. So in the learning library, we have different PDFs, we have URLs, and then we also have starter code, which you see down here in the bottom right, that will link you right directly to the coding interface, and students can live code their response there. So big fan of Finish the Story, and just really fun, engaging ways to present visual prompts for students. I also want to highlight some of our STEM activities and resources that we have in the learning library. One in particular is designing a light sword with LEDs. Super fun and very easy and simple to use with students or with folks who are working with students from home. Our Generations of STEM Inventors, this is a new initiative that we have been pushing forward in the last couple of weeks. Our team has been really intentional about talking about representation, in particular in STEM fields. And so these PDFs, which are available for everybody, really give you insight to some of the superstars that we may not know as everyday names when we should. There are lots of STEM inventions that we use every day that we may not know the background history of. So highly recommend folks to check those out. And then, as Lisa had mentioned, we're dedicated to STEM education and providing resources for folks who have an interest or a passion about STEM education and fields that might relate. So there's lots of resources available for career information and how to get started. Awesome. So now we're going to transition over to edu.irobot.com and show you how to access some of these materials that we have. So let's switch over to, okay, I think this is, yes, awesome. Okay, so everyone should be seeing our landing page for iRobot Education, edu.irobot.com. So I'd love to give you a little tour of our site. Feel free to take a look through here. We have lots of resources for students themselves, for educators, for folks in the community, and for general professionals. But what I'd love to do is jump into our learning library. You can access at this tab right here. And now you can filter by subject. This will drop down for me. You can filter by grade. You can filter by robot. There we go. Now it's gonna work. You can also search different terms here. So if I was looking for one of those career resources I was mentioning, I can type in career and scroll through, and then all of my documents will populate here. There we go. So here's our careers in tech, careers at a tech company, and engineering. If I wanted to bring up that finish the story that we were referencing, I can find it here. So big city adventure. If I click on this, here is all of the information that tells you what we think is best. Is it best for individual students? Is it best for small groups? Is it best for a full classroom environment? Robot compatibility, the subjects that it fulfills. And then here's where you can access the resources. So this will link you directly to the animation, and this will link you directly to the starter code. If I want to pop back out of here, and the one connection I do want to make for folks, this Generations of STEM, highlight one more time. Here's where you can find all the PDFs. And so a really nice connection here would be that finish the story, the big city adventure where you have to code routes, traffic signal. Garrett Morgan here is a little known fact, but should be well known, is actually the inventor of the traffic signal. So now you have another resource that taps into nonfiction, and you're able to share some background history on something that we see every single day. So one of my new favorite resources that we have to offer. The exit out of that, come back to our general learning library. And now we're going to pivot over to our coding interface. So if I jump in, this will lead me right there, code now. I can tap on this. And this will bring me to my coding at my project editor here. I can also access this by typing in code.irobot.com. And this will also bring me here. This is my project manager. So if I want to start in my project editor, I click on this plus tab right here, and it's going to bring me right there. So if folks are following along, if you want to open up a Chrome browser and go to code.irobot.com, you can hop in, and we're going to give a demo and an overview of how to use our interface. And it would be great if you tap in and want to follow along. So we're going to do we'll be sharing some projects here in the next few minutes. So feel free to open up a Chrome browser. I'm going to check our chat real quick, make sure we have no questions. Okay, so it looks like folks are in. Okay, great. Okay. So if folks have their screen split and you have a Chrome tab open, we can jump into our coding interface, and then we're going to bring Khalif back on here in a little bit, and he's going to run some of these demos live at his site. So to start, this is our level 1. So down here in our block drawer, we have our blue blocks here, which are our events, going into our commands, our setter blocks, and then our flow control blocks as well. So if I wanted to go ahead and jump right into one of my programs, I'm going to, let's say I'm going to move my robot forward. I'm going to turn. And then I'm going to light up. Why not? Let's change this to, let's go red today. I think Mass Robotics colors are red. Khalif, you're wearing a red shirt, so I'm going to go with this. So I have my program built. If I press play, my robot should execute program. Beautiful. So I just built my first program. So for someone who's brand new to coding, hopefully you're all being able to drag your blocks in and doing the same. Let's see, if I want to, I can activate some of those sensors we had talked about in the beginning in our demo of the hardware of Root. So I can also use those in my simulated version here with my SimBot. So if I want to activate my sensors, maybe I'll code my right bump sensor to turn my robot right. And I'll code my left bump sensor to have my robot turn left. Okay, so let's see, if I play this again, my robot's gonna move forward. So my when play line plays here. And then if I tap here, my robot starts turning. If I wanna turn to my left, there we go. So super fun. Let's see, it looks like folks say they can't chat here. So I think our team is troubleshooting on that end. So stay patient with us. If you have questions, keep trying to send them in. Our team is working to get that available. Let's see. If I want to, so additionally, another sensor here is our capacitive touch zones on top. If I wanted to, let's see, if I could play some music, we'll drag in some music blocks here. The way you edit your blocks is by tapping on them. So for folks who are musically inclined, which I'm sure many of you are, we have the full spectrum here of all 8 octaves on the piano. So you can tap and start to code some really fun songs. So we have a lot of musically inclined engineers, a lot of musically inclined students who actively use our music blocks. So super fun. So let's see, I want that to play. If I tap on this block here, I can edit which zones that's gonna play from. So I'm just gonna have that be my front 2 zones. And I'll come here, I'll reset my program by clicking on the reset arrow here in the bottom right. Okay, let's run it again. I'm moving forward, I'm turning, my light comes on. If I tap on my front zones here, now I have a little jingle starting to play. Maybe that's hard for you to see, so you can zoom in down here with these toggles. Try it one more time. Nice. And then you can also zoom out to see the entire virtual arena. Additionally, if I really wanted my robot to have to run my program as quick as possible, I can toggle here, which will change the speed. So if I hit play again, my robot just moved really quickly. So once you get into really involved programs, you can start to build long lines of code. And then if you are in a crunch or want to see what it looks like in full speed, you can toggle that there. If I transition to level 2, so I'm down here in my learning library as well. If I click level 2, immediately in real time, this transitions into our hybrid level. So now I'm starting to see from my graphical interface to introducing more text. Here as well, I'm able to change my parameters. So initially in level 1, our maximum is 16 centimeters. So if I change this to, let's say I'm working on decimals and I want to move 25.2 centimeters. Now I have a much more specific parameter that I'm asking the robot to do. Similarly, when I turn here, if I want to turn right, let's see, 90.21 centimeters, right? We can start to get very specific in our degrees that we're asking the robot to do. So in level 2, besides parameters being expanded, we also introduce more blocks. So down here in our block drawer, you can now see that we have introduced math and logic blocks. So as we scroll through, we have another fun block, which is our arc block. I'm going to drag in our arc block here and move out my music. So now when I touch, let's see, let's reset my program. Turn it back to regular speed. As I tap play, oops. When I tap on my top zone here, my robot starts to arc around. Let me reset this and put down our marker block. This is one of our, once we start talking about drawings, it's really fun to see the robot do this, but to be able to track its movements, we can drag in our marker block. So if I want to have my marker block come in here, so when I put my robot, when I tap my top zone here, once I hit play. Beautiful. And then now we start to see this curve happening. So I can do arc right for a whole circle. I wanted to do 360 degrees. Let's reset this again. Top on my top zone, and now I have a perfect circle drawn. Additionally, so we keep scrolling through, we talked about our arc block, super powerful to have in level 2, not available in level 1. Again, that's by intentional design. So level 1, we limit the blocks that are available in order for students to really want to be motivated to move forward and to advance in their coding skills. So it's an intentional scaffold design. Additionally, here in level 2, we introduce our coding coordinates. So students can start to plot out their coordinates and make some really cool images that way. Start talking about slope and y-intercept. And then we scroll through our setters. And we get to our conditional statements. So we can start building some decision trees, introducing variables. We have our repeat loops as well. And then we get into our math and logic blocks. So lots of power embedded in our level 2. And then as we transition to level 3, say I love my program, moving up to level 3, it's an immediate seamless transition here into our professional coding language based in Swift. So the syntax is all here, and this has really helped to scaffold students to understand, to make that bridge from our level 2, a more hybrid text-based, block-based coding language into what professionals are using. So speaking from my own professional experience, when I was working with students were very comfortable working in something that looks similar to this, but taking that next step, you easily get lost in the syntax of how things work, and it can be really intimidating for students. So a lot of students, we lost a lot of our students. So this 2 to 3 transition, I think, is really the sweet spot that allows a lot of students to stay engaged and really truly help scaffold that next step for folks. So I am going to, if I loved my program, right, I'm going to name it up here. I'll click on this where it says new project, tap here, and I'm going to say this is Anna's amazing program. I'm feeling pretty great about my program, right? I can scroll through here and choose a tile to save this as. And then I can come out here, I'm going to click on this orange arrow to navigate back to my project manager. And here's my project new tile here. So if I loved this project and I wanted to share it with my teacher, maybe I had an assignment that I had to turn in a homework project for, I need to click here to upload my project. And now I can select which project I want to upload. So I'm going to select this one here. I'm going to confirm my upload here by clicking on this cloud icon again. It's going to upload my project to the cloud and give me this 5-character code, which I can now either send to my teacher as my homework assignment, or I can send to my friend as a collaboration opportunity and say, hey, Khalif, like I'd really love for you to check out my program. If I copy this and I wanted to download it, I click on this icon here, the download with the cloud, and I'm going to enter my 5-character code here to download, and there it is. So now I have 2 of that same program. So let's see, if I wanted to, Khalif, let's see if I can send you a program.
I'm ready.
I'm going to say, oh, I'm so glad. Hi, Khalif, welcome back. I'm going to do something simple, Khalif. I'm going to start with my marker tool, bring that in, and let's use one of our repeat blocks. Maybe you might be able to predict what I'm going to send you here. This is a very common shape. Folks might know this. So I'm going to test it on my end to make sure it works. Press play. Okay, we're moving, we're grooving. Looking great. Okay, so my program is complete. I feel good about this. I'm going to name this. Let's see. Mass robotics is awesome. And I'm going to save this. I'm going to navigate back out this way. Khalif, I'm going to upload that by clicking on that icon, double clicking here to confirm. And it's going to give me my 5-character code. So Khalif, you have MQGUA. Let's see if this works.
All right.
Khalif's going to download on his end.
Turn the root on. Master Robotics is awesome. I agree.
Agreed.
Got it paired up now. There it is.
In live time, my friends. Here we go. Love it. So Root is over here doing its thing. So Khalif, that was a program that you downloaded, right?
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. In order to do that, if I wanted to run that, if I was had such a nice setup as Khalif does over at the Master Robotics site, and I wanted to run that on my robot, on my non-existent whiteboard behind me, I'm still in my coding interface. Everything right now is running through the simulator because I don't have my robot connected. If I wanted to connect my robot, I would click on this icon here, make sure my robot is turned on. And then here it tells me to give me the option to pair with my robot. So once I pair with my robot, my simulator, my virtual arena slides out, and then I can execute that program here in real time on my robot. So sweet demo, awesome, Khalif. I'm gonna pivot us back. So hopefully folks are able to follow along. I know we're still getting our questions sorted out, but we have a coding challenge. I don't know, Khalif, if you have any background on questions yet. If not, we're gonna get to it.
I just wanted to say one thing. For the coding challenge, we're going to ask you to put some things in chat. I know the chat's not working quite right now, but in the questions section, you can ask a question and we can see them from there. And so for anything we ask you to send in, put it there, and then I'll make sure we get that answered.
Awesome. Thanks, team. So let's transition over to our coding challenge. So I'm going to switch screens. Sharing, here we go. All right, so folks should have our coding challenge up on their screen now. If you're not at code.irobot.com, go ahead and visit there. And our challenge for you is to code a shape. You can try your hand at coding the square that Khalif and I just executed on his board. Or if you're feeling really like you want to challenge yourself, try to code a letter. It could be your first initial, it could be the initials of your school that you teach at. But feel free to start playing around, and then we'd love for you to rename that project, and it's going to show you in this demo, and then upload it. And then once you get through all of those steps, you can send us your 5-character code, and Khalif and I can either run it on the simulator and show off all of your coding skills, and Khalif can run it on his end at the Master Robotics site. So really cool opportunity here. So feel free to post your questions, and then Khalif, you and I can start coding too.
Oh, yeah.
All right. I know folks are going to be sending in everyone is like, doing all these typing things, make sure they get their projects going. So we'd love to see what folks are going to be creating. We have a bunch of projects to share on our end as well that can help generate ideas, especially for remote learning. Khalif, I don't know, have you had any luck coding any cool projects on your end?
Oh, I didn't get any time to. I was working too much with the getting the drones going, but I still have that M I did the other day.
Which is beautiful. Yeah, so hopefully Khalif has been kind of a super user of Root, and it's been really fantastic to be able to work with you and learn from you. So excited about this partnership for sure. Okay. Khalif, do you know if folks are posting any questions? I don't know if you have that capacity to see on your end.
Yeah, I can see them here. There haven't been too many questions. There's one question about where iRobot HQ is located.
Oh, perfect. Oh my gosh, some iRobot education trivia. Here we go. If anybody knows, feel free to chime into the chat. I'll give you a few seconds.
I know I've driven by it before.
Yeah. So iRobot education iRobot headquarters is located in Bedford, Massachusetts. So not too far from y'all over at Mass Robotics. Obviously, we haven't been there much for the past couple of months, as I'm sure many people have been working remotely. But yeah, that's our home base is over in Bedford.
Anna, do you want to explain the difference between what we're doing and Scratch?
Yeah. So I would say as a user, supporter, and lover of Scratch, that's what I had used with my students before. And where we missed the mark is that transition from level 2 to level 3. So it was just, there's such a gap for students in how they navigate that next step. And it's really fun and exciting to be able to animate and illustrate and build really cool projects for example, in our level 1 or level 2 situation. But taking it to the next level of what professionals are using every day is where students get really intimidated or start to tap out because it doesn't make sense. Like, why do I need to put a bracket or a semicolon? Like, that doesn't translate to beautifully colored blocks that I can drag in and out. So the power really lies behind that easy transition to level 1, level 2, and level 3, and seeing that in real time. Again, a kindergartner, anybody can code something in level 1, and then to be able to see that in a level 3 in that professional Swift language, I think is the most powerful aspect that we can provide.
All right.
So
We just got in our first code.
woohoo!
Pull it up right now.
Go team, go! Kudos to folks who are out there coding it out. I love it. I'm gonna run this over here in my simulator.
Program called Pi.
Oh, good.
Let's see what this one does. Okay. We'll pair up.
YWPYK.
Let me restart it real quick.
I hear all the roots like activating. Which one? Which one?
Yeah.
Oh, this looks like a fun one, Khalif.
Oh yeah. There we go. Pair that up. Hear the noise going. Now I can play it. There we go.
Looks promising. I'm liking it already. So this is a really great example of what teachers can do in their classrooms. So there we go, zooming in there, Khalif. This past spring, obviously when everyone started going remote, we had some teachers who, from our ambassador program, which we'll also talk about here in a few more minutes, who their students really love coding and wanted to be able to have a remote option. So what she ended up doing was her student stat looks awesome. Hi, oh my gosh, hi team. Well done, well done. But one of our educators was having their students code from home, so using the code.irobot.com browser, and they would send in their 5-character code just like we're doing right here. And if teachers had office hours or a time where there was a live root demo, they would be able to pilot student code in real time. So it was a really great incentive for students to be able to see their code and to still stay connected and learning about coding and robotics even from afar. So love that.
There is a an issue with, I was working on my code and all of a sudden the page restarted on an iPad. Is that a common thing?
So are they using Chrome or Safari?
Good question.
I would say, so the robots use BLE, Bluetooth Low Energy. So is most compatible in a Chrome browser. It'll still run, but I would just refresh the page, and then if that's still going to be a reoccurring issue, definitely reach out to our team, but we haven't had any of that happen on our end yet. So we'll send our emails at the end, so whoever is having that issue, feel free to reach out if it continues.
So it wasn't Safari, but the code was still there, so.
Oh, good,
That's
okay.
good.
All your hard.
There was another question about using root on a whiteboard that's not level. Would this cause any issues?
So in terms of gravity compensation and how the blocks are oriented, or how the robot, I guess, is oriented, if you have I would say it's going to work best. Root's going to perform best on a vertical whiteboard, and that's where we can leverage the eraser as well. And Root obviously will work on any kind of flat surface. I haven't tested it much on any kind of vertical surfaces. I would be open to what that would look like, but I would say my recommendation is best on a vertical or horizontal space. Great question, though. That's take our team that's on here, Lisa, and all of our iRobot education folks. We should do some slanted challenges and see how Root holds up. Great question. Let's see. I think so. We've got about 10 minutes left. I'm going to switch here to some announcements, and then we'll keep taking folks to have their programs be sent in, and then we'll have some more Q&A in just a few minutes. So hang tight. Actually, if we pivot real quick, so in the coding interface, just one thing to mention here. Here we go. Let's share. You can navigate, so the learning library, we had some questions about that. The learning library, you can access it from the project manager. So where you see the download, the new project tab, the download icon, and then that apple, some of you might be wondering what that apple is for. That actually will lead you directly to the learning library. So you don't have to toggle between lots of different tabs. And it's a new icon that sends you right there. So that's a new implementation that we're pretty excited about. So a couple, I guess, resources and announcements that we'd really like to share with folks is one in particular, we have an ambassador program. So we're looking for educators and folks who work in capacity of education that are really passionate about technology and coding and robotics in particular. To join our ambassador program. So we piloted this past year with teachers from across the United States, and it's been really successful. So teachers essentially are some of our first users and give us a lot of feedback on activities and content that we're developing in-house, and they test with their students. So our Chrome launch, our ambassadors were incredibly helpful in providing feedback on how things were working on their end. And it was a real-time bug challenge for students to be looking at and be on the hunt for things that didn't quite feel right. So they are, again, some of our super users, but we're accepting applications up until tomorrow. Tomorrow at midnight Eastern Standard Time is when our applications close. So if anyone's interested, we can post that link in the chat, and then also in our follow-up email. I know Master Robotics is going to send one out. But if you're interested or you know someone else who's interested, we'd love to have more folks join us and help create really cool stuff. You can obviously start coding at code.irobot.com. We've cycled through that link quite a bit, so please use it. Share it with your students, with your families. If you're interested in the iRobot Education newsletter, there's our link there. Again, we'll post that in the chat for folks to sign up as well. And then our last note here is just our link to our learning library. So please feel free to test out all of our content. And we are always looking for feedback on how things work and how we can make them better. So reach out with questions. We'd love to hear from folks. We love connecting with teachers.
Can you go over again how to save the code?
Sure, of course. Let me pivot back to our screen share here. Back to Google Chrome. So everybody should see our beautifully executed Hi program. Thanks to one of our users for sending that over. Let me try this back in. All right, so to save a program, I'm going to jump in, I'll build a new program right here. Just click on this new tab here, and I'll build real quick. If I wanted this to be my program, if I'm gonna rename it, we'll say this is test program number 1. Click on this tile and I'll hit the save button here. And then I'm gonna navigate back here using my orange arrow back to my project manager. This is where all of my projects are saved. So to upload it, I'm gonna click on this icon down in the bottom right. I don't know if you can see my mouse. The bottom right above the trash can. Click there to upload. And I'm gonna confirm I wanna upload this test program number 1. And then I click back on this icon here to confirm that. And that's gonna give me my 5-character code. So this is what I need to remember. I can either write this down. I have an Excel spreadsheet of all the programs that I create to back up so I can download it anytime. So I copy this here, click OK, and then I can download it this way. So clicking on this download icon in the middle, and then I should download it right here. And just coming full circle, we talked about that link to the learning library here is with the Apple. So that will take me directly over to edu.irobot.com/learning library. I will say some other options for remote learning to tie back into Lisa and my other colleague, Kara, who run the STEM outreach program at iRobot Education. We've been piloting Robot Pictionary, so that's been really successful with students. Our team of engineers and folks who are passionate about coding are coding all these different images that we can share, and then give students the opportunity to play Pictionary online in this virtual space that we're all trying to navigate. So you can design any kind of program and then name it as Pictionary 1 or Pictionary 2, and then you can play it for your students and they can have that opportunity to try to guess. Another option that we got really creative with our team internally. We designed a pizza challenge. So I'll click on this tab here. And it's going to bring me to my pizza challenge. I'm going to speed this up for folks. And so it actually draws a slice of pizza. And then the challenge is you need to code using the top touch sensors. You need to code how to erase that slice of pizza. So this was really fun for folks, for all of our families to get involved with, and really allowed for a lot of opportunity to get started with coding. The second level to this was that folks were able to design their own pizza slice. So our level up challenge for folks who are really comfortable in coding was that they had to design their own slice of pizza in a level 2 or level 3 program. So we had lots of incredible submissions for this. Made us all very hungry. Had some Hawaiian pieces of pizza and mushrooms. So everyone was really kind of flexing their coding muscles. It was really cool. Khalif, looks like you are writing something out over there. I'm loving this.
There we go. I'm muted now. I had another submission in, so I'm drawing it out.
Awesome.
I got yo.
Super fun.
So make sure if you have any other questions or any other projects you want us to upload just to see how it works, just put it right in the questions tab.
Yes. As questions keep coming in, or programs, I'll run our, this is a program we made in honor of Teacher Appreciation Week to kind of close out our session here today. But just a way to honor teachers, and especially right now, everyone is still trying to figure out what is going to happen come fall, and especially how this impacts us all moving forward. So just an extra big shout out to teachers who are doing this every day, especially right now in the summer. But just an expression of our gratitude and opportunity to hopefully work more closely with some of you as well. We will pivot over to more questions. Up here on the screen is my contact information as well as Lisa's and Daniela. And feel free to tag us in any adventures that you have in terms of coding or STEM at iRobot Education. And we're happy to chat more with anything you guys would love to share with us. We love to hear what's happening in classrooms. So Khalif, I know we have just a few more minutes. So if folks have any other programs they'd like to send in.
I'm not seeing any right now. There was a question to send the ambassador info, so I'm glad you have put all that up.
Absolutely. We can share that. I don't know if folks see what I put in the chat, but I'll post the link, and then we'll also send the link out in Mass Robotics follow-up as well. You can find the link on our Facebook and Twitter pages as well. So we'd, again, love to have applications. Awesome. Well, I guess extra kudos to Mass Robotics for hosting us. This is super fun, and again, a partnership that we'd love to deepen and work more closely with. So thank you, Khalif, and your team over at Mass Robotics. It's been really fun. Great way to spend our afternoon.
All right, thank you guys so much for giving us all these routes so that we can run our programs and for doing webinars like this. So
yeah, exactly. So fun.
Right.
We'll stay on a few more minutes longer, and then folks have more questions, feel free to reach out.
Quick question of where is Mass Robotics? So we're in the Seaport area of Boston, right next to Harpoon. We have Harpoon right behind us. And we have a whole bunch of robotic companies. I think we're up to 50 now that either work in this space or are part of our larger network. And they're all different startups of different levels of funding or prototype to Series A. And so when we bring students in here, they get to actually come in and see some of these robotic companies at work and to see what all this technology looks like in person. So it's very cool.
Yeah, that real life application that's what it's all about. You can teach something and learn something, but until you get your hands dirty with something, that's phenomenal. Also, I didn't know you're all the way that close to Harpoon. So cool.
Yep.
So I guess on our end, iRobot Education, we had this tour scheduled to come out to Mass Robotics to see your brand new revamped space, and then of course pandemic. So it's definitely on our list of places to get out to.